Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the Rayanda podcast, which is where we talk about all things that can help us look and feel 10 years younger once we're over 50. So, today we are talking about something that can make a massive difference to how you look and feel. And it's so easy to fix, and it is bloating, because there's nothing like feeling bloated to just make you just feel, um, horrible, really. It changes how you dress. I've noticed when I'm a bit bloated, I wear much more frumpy clothes.
Mm.
It's just frumpy clothes are going to make you feel even worse. So, and also just actual bloating can actually physically make you feel tired because there might be some reason underlying it. Anyway, without further ado, Ray is going to ask some questions that have come in from listeners regarding the topic of bloating in women over 50.
Why do midlife women in the midlife, bloat much more than younger women?
It's funny, actually. I remember my mother-in-law actually saying, "Oh, every time I eat a Subway, I get so bloated." I remember thinking, "What?
Mm.
Don't be ridiculous." Because I could obviously just eat whatever I wanted and absolutely wouldn't get any bloating. And then, of course, you actually get over 50 and you bloat with everything. I mean, I can't, I definitely can't have wheat. I can't have gluten. I just can't. And there's loads of other things as well. But basically, once you get sort of into the perimenopause and the menopause, the hormones basically affect digestion. And also, we have slightly higher cortisol levels, and that we also have lower stomach acid levels. So it basically is just like, the perfect storm for slow digestion, which is going to cause bloating. And so basically, it's not that there's anything wrong with us, it's just functionally we just don't work as well, and we're just really sensitive. And so without realizing it, we continue to do what we did in our 20s and 30s and 40s, and our bodies just don't tolerate it, and we just have these triggers, and a lot of these triggers are just completely hidden from us, because a lot of the triggers that cause bloating we consider to be healthy. So all the things that we're being told to do, eat more fiber, eat, cruciferous vegetables, eat raw this and raw that, and smoothies that have got loads of spinach in and all this, without realizing it, we're actually just causing things that make us bloat, because bloating really is caused by excessive gas. And the reason that you get that is because everything has either slowed down, um, and then when anything slows down in the gut, the bacteria basically produce gas, and that's why
Mm.
we get it. And it's just a bit of a vicious cycle, really, isn't it? um,
Yeah, I think you've
yeah.
answered my next question about the big hidden triggers. So, if you were going to say to women, these are the things to look out or look out for, could you give me three to five?
Yeah, so I'd say the things that you most need to just have a look at your diet for are where you're eating large amounts of fiber in one go. Like if you're whizzing up a lovely green smoothie in the morning and it's got like half a bag of spinach in, and you're adding maybe some psyllium husk, and you're doing all the things, soaked chia seeds, and you're putting all this in there. It's such a large amount of fiber in one go, and also with a smoothie, you drink it really quickly. So you don't do all of the things that prepare your body for food, like smelling it, tasting it, chewing it, seeing it. You're just whacking it down there, and the body's like, "Oh my God, what the hell is this?" And it hasn't had time to produce the microbiome in the mouth. It hasn't produced the stomach acid. It hasn't got all of the movement going and the peristalsis, which is what moves things along. It's just got this massive, great big bolus of food without any kind of central nervous system stimulation to tell it that it needs to get into digest mode. So loads of fiber without and people do this first thing in the morning. So
Mm.
loads of fiber, and they do it in a way that the body isn't prepared, and so it just sets you up for bloating throughout the day, because once you've kind of put that into your body and it's not moving, everything else you eat after it is just going to get you
Just
know,
going to sit on top of it and
up.
ferment, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, we need to warm the
So,
body up
so,
for
so
the
yeah.
food.
So don't eat large amounts of fiber in one go, and watch out for something called lectins, which is something I only discovered, a couple of years ago, but it has massively changed how much how bloaty I am. And basically, It's basically that there's in vegetables, healthy vegetables and grains, there are something called lectins. And when you just prepare your vegetables and grains in a certain way, you can get all the goodness of the vegetables and the salad and the grains without the lectins. So you basically just want to start, peeling certain vegetables like cucumbers and tomatoes,
Mhm.
de-seeding them like cucumbers and tomatoes, courgettes and things like that. And then if you're cooking grains, just making sure you're soaking them correctly and making sure, I mean, I personally pressure cook all of my grains, like my rice and all of my whole grains, just because it destroys lectins. And I'm very, very sensitive to lectins.
Mm.
I literally did that. I read the book about it. It's called The Plant Paradox by Dr. Stephen Grundy. I read the book about it like 3, 4 years ago. And within 24 hours, people had stopped asking me, was I pregnant? um, telling me I needed to work on my core whenever I was in yoga pants. It literally just disappeared, literally within 24 hours. So not everyone is sensitive to lectins, but it might just be something that you're
Mm.
sensitive to. So I
I
definitely
did,
check that
yeah.
out.
I'd definitely be sensitive to lectins now, but we pressure cook everything after having a chat with you and reading the
Yeah.
book. And I find now that I can't have things like beans and chickpeas. Just
Yeah. Even
yeah,
if
don't.
you soak them and pressure cook them.
Well, we've just actually just taken them out of the diet because whenever we pressure cook stuff, it's mainly vegetables now.
Mm.
I do like a chili, but Eddie's not quite so fussed on a chili. So to be honest with you, I don't miss it because it was giving me so much discomfort. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely pressure cooking. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, that will lead me on to the next thing, which is a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm bloated," but how do they know they're actually bloated and
Yeah.
not actually just getting a little bit thicker around the middle because of fat?
Yeah, so I think the easiest way is to see if it fluctuates during the day. So if you get up in the morning and your stomach's quite flat, and then as you go on through the day, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, that's definitely bloating. If it's just sort of just there all the time, that's probably fat. The other way you can do is you can tense your abdominal muscles and just, do the pinch test.
Hmm.
If you pinch it and you get a large handful of sort of squishy fat, that's fat. If you pinch it and there's just like a thin layer and then you're down
Mm.
to the muscle, that's probably bloating because obviously, the bloating is pushing out on the muscle.
Hmm.
Also, the shape is different. Like if it's fat, it tends to be fairly sort of pillowy and soft and fluffy. And if it's bloating, it is hard and it is dome shaped. And the other thing is that, if it's bloating, it tends to go with other symptoms like
Mm.
discomfort, early fullness,
Hmm.
wind, reflux, perhaps some constipation, just
Feeling
other
congested.
symptoms.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you just feel sluggish, you feel
And if your
tired.
scales haven't really changed,
Yeah,
it's bloating. Yeah. And
yeah.
I find that if I'm feeling congested and a bit, if I just uh, lengthen my fasting window and shorten my eating window, it goes so
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah. For me, snacking is the big thing that
Yeah.
I didn't realize that snacking was such a problem until I decided to like really attack my bloating.
Yeah.
Basically, every time you eat, your body has to produce all this stuff to digest it. And
Yeah.
if you're just snacking, it definitely can cause bloating. Definitely.
Yeah.
That
Are
does for
there
me anyway.
Are there any quick and simple things that people can do to relieve bloating? Like if they're feeling really, really, really uncomfortable, or they've got to get into that dress and they
Yeah.
haven't maybe been quite so good with their diet. Life gets in the way, doesn't it? We're not here to point fingers because
Yeah.
we're human too.
Yeah, so
But
obviously
yeah,
prevention is always going to be better, and we've given you some things to like avoid. So you might obviously things like and also just knowing what triggers you off. I mean, and so I think definitely if you're saying they've already got bloated and they yeah, okay,
yeah,
already bloated and you want to just de-bloat, I would say that you've got to get everything moving. So you want to really nicely hydrate yourself with some electrolytes and some water, definitely. And the other thing you can do is soak some chia seeds. I'm a massive fan of chia seeds, but you just got to prepare them properly, otherwise they will make things worse. So you want to soak them in a good amount of water until they basically, I just keep putting water on until they've stopped absorbing it. And then I basically just put 2 tablespoons of pre-soaked chia seeds into whatever I'm eating. So if it's a smoothie, I'll add it. If it's some yogurt, I'll have it. I
mm,
sometimes even add it, to things like porridge and stuff. It's just so, so easy to. to because it holds the water in it, and you don't even notice them. They don't taste of anything.
No, I think they're
Yeah,
quite I quite like them actually, and
yeah.
they're great for
Fill you
releasing,
up. Yeah.
water over well, they fill you up, but they also release water over a period of time.
Yeah,
So I used
so
to
they're
take
really
a
good for your skin.
yeah, I would used to take a smoothie, well, not a smoothie, like a protein shake to work with me. And in the summer it was great because it just kept hydrating me throughout the day. But because of the chia seeds that had been soaked were just releasing their water. So I was,
Yeah.
really pleased to learn about that.
So that's a quick
Um,
way, and then psyllium husk is a great way, a big glass of
yeah,
water, a tablespoon of,
yeah.
psyllium husk, powder or granules, whatever you've got. And then obviously that you've got some tricks, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. But I was also going to ask you, what
Everybody's
about charcoal? Charcoal tablets for helping just to soak up any of those toxins that are
Yeah, I think
irritating the
I think I
bloating.
think charcoal is great. I mean, the only reason I use charcoal is if I'm eating a fair bit of tuna, like,
Okay.
'cause tuna's
Oh
really
yeah,
good.
yeah, 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 yeah,
It
yeah,
just
yeah.
really like, if I've got a whole day in the car, it's just a really portable protein, so
Mm,
but I will take, just 'cause I just don't want loads of mercury in my system, so I will
mm,
take them prophylactically. But other
yeah,
than that, I think it can be quite constipating, and obviously if you take it any time when you're taking your supplements, it's gonna just
yeah,
wasting all of your supplements. So I would say it's got a place,
yeah.
but I wouldn't be using it regularly because
No.
it's gonna make things worse, I would say.
So I'm going to talk about think movement stuff now that's going to really help that while we're on the topic of it.
Yeah.
So anything that's twisting, anything that so lying on your back, knees up, feet on the floor, rolling your knees from side to side, that's going to be causing a lovely twisting massage through the gut. Um, being on all fours, doing the cat cow, so you're arching your back up and then sinking your belly down. Just anything that causes movement through the area below the diaphragm is going to cause a lovely compression, relaxation, compression, relaxation. It's just going to start to get things going through. Anything that's going to be causing a little bit of a side bend. So if you're in 4-point kneeling and you just walk your hands around to the side, that stretches one side and compresses the other side. And that compression and relaxation actually helps just to move things through and just to wring out any bloating that you've got. Obviously, we talked about hydration. That's going to be really, really good as well. Even just standing up and swinging your arms from side to side, that's really nice. Doing a little bit of stretching from side to side, that's really nice. Rubbing a little bit of lavender around the belly, that's also going to be really, really nice. And there's also some breathing things that you can do that will help to aid your digestion. That's dead easy to do, and I can talk about that now if you want to. So there's a thing called, we've discussed this before, called Satali breathing, and it's actually the cooling breath in yoga. It's dead simple. It does require a tongue roll, but if you can't roll your tongue, you can do the breathing through your teeth, but it cools the system, which is going to cool the liver, which is going to help your digestion. But it also just helps to aid that your digestion and just get things going through a little bit more. And it's so simple. You basically just breathe in through a rolled tongue and breathe out through your nose. So I'm going to show you that 3 times now. So tongue roll. If you can't roll your tongue, you can inhale through teeth that are just slightly apart, not clenched, and that's going to create a little bit of a hiss. The other thing that this does is it allows your system to go into rest and digest, which is when we come out of fight or flight and our body goes, oh, now I can actually start to direct the blood flow to the digestive system so that I can process anything that I've eaten. I'll just quickly do the breath in through the teeth and out just once so that you can kind of hear it. So it's, and that's the option if you can't roll your tongue. The other thing that you can do is diaphragmatic breathing, because we know we've got these 2 big tubes of the bellows of the lungs. And if we inhale, it expands those big balloons. So that presses down into the diaphragm, and that gives a lovely massage down into the belly, the intestines, and the colon. And so that's so simple. So I'm just going to, so you can see a little bit more. So hand just on the chest, because we don't want this to move, and the hand on the belly, because we do want this to move. And you're basically just going to keep this still and this moving. So I don't know if you can see my belly.
We can't.
Gosh. Hang on, hang on.
Is this the same as soft belly breathing? You know, I've heard of that. I do that when I'm really stressed.
Yeah, but you want to just make sure as long as this is not moving up, because we want the pressure to be coming down through the so let me see if I come up onto
You
my
like expanding your belly as you
oh,
breathe in, like pushing your belly out.
here we go. Got it. Let me just tuck this in. You're gonna get it all now, girlies. So this stays steady and this moves. So
Okay. Ah, yeah. So the complete opposite to what we normally do.
oh, third breath in was worked a charm because that got everything exhaling. And
Yeah,
we spend most of our days in fight or flight, which is breathing up here.
yeah,
So we're not digesting. So we're actually not getting in all the nutrients that we should be. So that's also going to help. That's going to affect our energy, but then that's also going to make our bloating worse.
yeah,
Worse.
yeah,
So this stays steady, belly moves, and I would say do 10. Just do 10 breaths,
yeah.
and that's going to just help. Yeah.
We need to stop sucking our belly in, that's for sure, because that's the opposite
Oh,
of
stop
that.
sucking your
Stop
belly
sucking your
in.
belly in. This
No, and the more
reminds me
bloated you
actually,
are, the harder it is.
yeah, and this reminds me that you were asking me about the hidden, hidden causes of bloating.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not actually what we're eating, it's actually how we're eating and what else is going on in our life. Like stress is one of the biggest causes of bloating because when you're stressed, your body literally diverts all of the sort of blood supply away from the digestive system.
Yep.
In order to digest your food, you need to rest and digest. So if we're stressed, like trying to eat while we're stressed, we're just putting food into our bodies and our body is not digesting it. And that is literally going to mean that it's going to be very, very slow passing through our bodies, hence causing bloating.
Mm,
The other thing is like eating on the go, that's not going to put your body into a rest and digest state. So
no.
it's not going to be digesting the food. So the other way you can counterbalance that is just to do like mindful eating, which is something I
Mm,
discovered a couple of years ago, which is literally like if you're eating, you are sat down and you are just eating, or you're talking to somebody who is also eating. And so your body is getting all these messages like, I am eating. And they found
mm-hmm,
that not only did you have less like indigestion, reflux, and bloating, you also were less likely to be overweight because all of that like information is coming in. I am eating, you actually become satiated for longer. So people who basically do the opposite, i.e. they eat mindlessly, i.e. you're watching Netflix and you have no idea how much you've eaten or what you're eating,
mm,
you're more likely obviously to think, oh, I'm hungry again in a short
mm,
space of time. So yeah, eating mindfully, just eating, and not eating on the go, not eating standing up. And if you are stressed, just calm yourself down before you eat.
mm. And I think it was interesting what you said about when we were talking about fiber is you need to smell it, taste it. You need to get the saliva going. All of that is going to help digest the food. And the other thing I was thinking was when you see people walking and eating, all the blood is going to their limbs
Yeah,
to
yeah,
move those as opposed to going to the digestion. So don't think that eating on the hop is not a good idea.
yeah. And stop using mouthwash. Oh my God, definitely don't use mouthwash because that's where digestion first starts in your
Mm.
mouth. And so if you kill all those bacteria off, it really, really doesn't help your digestion.
Do you know what? I think you've actually covered quite a few of the questions that I've been asked to ask you because we talked about. Oh yeah, there will be one thing I will ask you. We talked about with things that we think are healthy that actually aren't. We talked about how does stress play into this. But can bloating improve in 24 to 48 hours? So if you've had a chaotic week, you've just had curveballs that have turned into fireballs left, right, and center, and you have got a do that you've got to go to, or you've got to fit into your jeans.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you can do in 24 to 48 hours? I mean, we've talked about movements, we've talked about changing what you're eating, we've talked about calming down. I do have a little technique that you can use. Is there anything else that you would sort of suggest?
Yeah, you can absolutely turn it around in 24 to 48 hours. Because if you think about what bloating is, it literally is just gas and fluid. So if you can
Mm,
move that through your body, then the bloating is going to disappear. So I'd say it's basically stop doing the things that we discussed, like
mhm,
slowing everything down, i.e., being dehydrated, eating heavy meals, eating too fast, all these things, eating on the run. Just don't do any of that, and then just do the things that we basically said, which is just you know introduce something that's going to get things moving, anything that's going to get it moving. So that could just be going for a walk. It could be having some chia seeds mixed in, with your food. It could be taking something that actually stimulates it, so like some warm water. Um, yeah, and there's caffeine as well. If you are a bit constipated, caffeine is going to make things move.
mm,
But you want to stay hydrated at the same time as caffeinating yourself.
mhm,
But yeah, I think it's just really, really simple things. Gentle fiber, hydration, movement,
mhm.
and removing the things that slow everything down, like sugar, for instance, is going to
Yeah,
a lot more gas than something light. Like
yeah.
salad and scrambled eggs or whatever.
I'd also talk about the eating window and actually giving. I know if I'm bloated, if I
Yeah,
give my digestion a break,
yes.
so I take more herbal teas. I'll do a little bit of fasting, and I know that 24 hours of fasting, it's not easy for everyone, but you can do it. It's a choice you just have to decide to make. You will get a complete gut reset, and you also give your digestion time to catch up on top of everything else that you've been shoving in that
Mm,
isn't making you healthy. The other thing that, and we talked about movement as well, get yourself moving, get the twisting, get the body bending forwards and backwards, get your ribs opening and closing so that your whole digestion can have a little bit of help to help that peristalsis. And the other thing that I was going to suggest was massage is really, really nice, which is where I come in. And certainly if we think about so I'm going to kneel up again. And obviously, it's a little bit more difficult whenever you're on camera because it's left and right, isn't it? But if we think that this is my pelvis and this is where my diaphragm is, so my digestion is in here. And so what we can do is this is the right side of me. So we always want to be thinking clockwise with the belly. And so you can just start to do something as simple as light to medium tapping around the belly button. And all of that just starts to get things stimulated, getting the energy into this area, and also reminding the brain that we need to have the circulation coming down here. It's a feedback loop. Once you've done a little bit of clapping, then you can do some stroking. So I'm stroking up the right side, stroking across under the diaphragm from right to left, and then I can stroke down. And all of that, so my colon is coming that
mm,
direction. So the tapping, the stroking, and you want to spend 5 minutes doing this, the deep breathing while you're doing it. And then you can do a little bit of massage, and it's light to medium touch. So it should feel really soothing and lovely. It shouldn't feel sore. And
yeah.
you just want to
Um,
massage, just
yeah.
it can be a bit uncomfortable, especially
Yeah.
around this area here. Something else that's really lovely is if you do a lovely hip flexor stretch, then you can release a lot of that congestion through the pelvis. So we've talked about tapping, we've talked about stroking, and you want to stroke down this side, always in a clockwise direction, and then come to the belly button. And you can stroke around the belly button, but you can also rotate your massage. And I would just keep it nice and slow. And all of that's going to be lovely. And then I would be inclined just to do 10 nice, long, slow belly breaths, diaphragmatic breathing,
Mm.
and everything will just start to move better.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's very relaxing as well, isn't it? Self
Yeah,
massage.
yeah, very, very
Yeah.
much
And
so.
you can probably even feel, if you led down when you can do it, you probably even feel where the blockages are.
Yeah.
And I know I can when I've got it.
I know that if you lie on your back with your legs up the wall, that really helps your digestion, but that's not everyone wants to do that. But I think once you start doing it, you can become a convert very, very quickly. But that just gets all the blood flow out of your legs down into your digestion and just gets things
Yeah.
moving.
And you
But
mentioned you mentioned fasting because that is a massive, massive
well, that's
way.
probably
Yeah.
another
So
discussion to
can
be fair.
you
But
can you recommend if someone was thinking about doing maybe a 24-hour fast, can you recommend how they might make sure they do it like in a sort of safe and,
Feed
not too
yourself for your
painful.
fast. Yeah, feed
Yeah.
yourself for your fast. So I would be inclined to, and 24 hours doesn't have to, it's not overnight twice. It can be something as simple as having your meal at 5 o'clock, say on a Sunday evening, and not eating until 5 o'clock on a Monday evening. It can be as simple as that. You want to make sure that you hydrate really well, that you take good electrolytes that don't have any extra sugary things in them to make them taste better. But I'd also say your last couple of meals before your fast, make it sort of more protein dense, less sugary, don't have alcohol. You can also have things like carbonated water. You can have your herbal drinks. You can have black coffee. You can have a little, if you want, you can also have a little bit of coconut oil in that. Obviously, with the coffee, try not to have it after 2 o'clock. Don't have it maybe for the first 90 minutes in the morning because we're talking about cortisol again, and we're also talking about, well, you want to be able to get to sleep. A hot bath after you've had your meal, because that also allows your body, you get your circulation down here, and that starts to get things digesting. And it also puts in a little bit of time whenever you're maybe not used to fasting. But fasting is a choice, I would say. And a lot of people say, I can't do it. Our bodies are built to fast.
Mm.
We are the fasters that we survived when other people couldn't thousands of years ago because our bodies could fast. And
Yeah.
so, and it does take a little bit of practice, and it is a little bit of a mindset game. But there's a great book by Dr. Mindy Peltz, Fast Like a Girl. And that's an amazing book to take a deep dive into, because that talks about your hormones and how you can eat to help your hormones. And it's made such a big difference to my life. But I think the thing with fasting, even if you think I definitely can't do a 24-hour, if you know that you finish eating at 7 o'clock at night and you have your breakfast at 8, finish eating at maybe 6 o'clock, 6:30, and push your breakfast out to 8:30, 9 o'clock. Try and just get an extra hour. Just be savvy with it. It's all a bit of playing around with your hours.
Yeah, I think we should do, I mean, because we're both into fasting, I think we should do,
Yeah.
like, an episode on it, because
I think that's our next conversation.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, because it's
Yeah.
definitely gonna help with bloating.
Oh my gosh. So
How
I
to
find
get a
that
lovely flat stomach in 24
yeah.
hours.
But I know that in 24 hours, I can drop, I know this is going to sound crazy, but 2 pounds of water weight.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely can 'cause and you get a completely, like, massive, like, upgrade on your gut biome as well, which not only helps with the
Yeah.
bloating, like, immediately, but going forward, because
Yeah.
basically if you when you break your fast, if you break it with things like sauerkraut and green vegetables,
Yeah.
high quality protein, maybe some, some kefir or whatever, you just basically have killed off all of the gas producing, sugar munching bacteria, and then you basically fed the,
Yeah.
the healthy ones, which don't really produce a lot of gas. So
No, and I think that's
okay.
a very good point. You have to break your fast carefully. So I think sometimes if you're going to start fasting, is just push your fasting window. So the time that you're not eating, just push it out 2 hours.
Pushing, yeah.
Just start with a little bit, because as Miranda knows, I haven't broken my fasts correctly on many
So
occasions.
you have and then you've made
And
yourself feel
I've
really
learned the hard way.
well.
And you know what? I have learned the hard way.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I'm a massive advocate for fasting. And the sense of achievement that you feel, it cleans your pipes, it also clears your head. You
Mhm.
feel just like you're on top of the
Yeah.
world afterwards.
Yeah. And it completely almost, I mean, we did do a 72-hour one, didn't we? We done
We
it once,
did.
tried to do it again, and it was a disaster. But it it totally changed my relationship with food. It just did. I
Yeah.
had a completely different relationship with food, and it actually changed my relationship with a lot of things. Actually, because I think it just reset my dopamine in 72 hours.
Yeah.
But we will
That's,
definitely do an
we
episode
will
on.
do another one,
I'm not
because we could
saying you
talk
need
about
to
this
do a
all night.
72
No,
hour because
let's
it's a big.
just,
It's a
yes. There's a point to it. There's a point to it. Read the book.
yeah. Read the book, and she's on YouTube as well, so you can check her out
Yeah.
on YouTube. But yeah,
Yeah.
we've only ever done it once, and that was the crazy days.
Well, I mean, yeah, I have got a 3-day fast coming up, I have to say. But you have to be in the right mindset for it. So,
Yeah, and you have to prepare for it. I mean,
yeah.
you should definitely, if you're doing a 24-hour fast, you should be looking at what you're eating for the 2 weeks previously, so that you make it easy on yourself.
Yeah, but it's definitely very doable.
Yeah, it is. But we will do another episode on that. But that
Yes.
really is our episode on bloating, which I
Yeah,
think we've covered everything.
I think we have.
If we have missed anything, feel free to DM us, and we will I will answer you.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Thank you
That
very
was
much,
great.
Megan,
Thank you.
and we will see you in the next episode.
See you soon, guys.
All right. Bye.